Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, June 19th, 2017, and we are continuing with what we were working on the last little while, which is making the game look good. We have the gameplay over the last couple years. Seems like it's mostly nailed down now, and something that's stable and works over multiplayer and so on and so forth. Admittedly, I did lower my expectations a little bit for the, oh, hello, nice. Admittedly, I did lower my expectations a little bit for what I would release on itch.io or whatever I do. I'd probably itch.io. But we're almost there, right? A lot of the things I'm thinking of are things that I'm just gonna have be a post-release, upgrade. It's a demo, right? It's a gameplay proof of concept. So here's what we have so far. Let's move my microphone up a little bit closer. There we are. So you can hear me better. So we're starting to add more, more meshes to this. We're going to need to add some lights here, but we'll make that later on. At some point, we're going to have to modify the camera a little bit, such that either certain tiles will give cues for the angle that it should be at. That'd probably be the easiest way of doing it, but I'm not sure I really want to do it that way. I have to put it in the map if that was the case. Or if I have like a ray trace method of being like check for the sky and then adjust the angle accordingly. In a more general sense, yeah. Then we have this little waterfall. We actually have 4 of them in the map. And then we have this guy over here, which we still need to change some of the tiles. And it also has a stable. Then up here, honestly, I mean, I can do a general solver for a camera, but I can do map hints quicker. Just basically like, on this one, make sure the minimum distance doesn't go below a certain amount, and over in a stable, make the camera tilt a little bit further down when it's trying to find the, we're trying to use the knights. And likewise, in the, well, here it doesn't matter because it can't go any lower, but in the cathedral, have it be a certain distance maximum. And maybe lock yourself to this angle here, so that you can't rotate into the wall. And just add that hint to all of these tiles. or just add a list of coordinates to the camera and just bake it in. Because as it stands right now, all we have is cross streams to worry about. And whenever there's a palace here, we can have other hints here. Whoa, is that waving? Huh, no it wasn't. It was just the interplay of the grid with the tiles on top. Yeah, that's probably gonna be easier to just do a hints. And basically like, hey, on this tile, make sure your camera isn't going any closer than this right here. That'd be a lot quicker than doing ray tracing and all that sort of stuff, and I would have complete control over it. Still allow this to happen, so maybe I can add the hints over here as well. Not even gonna touch that, jokers. So I guess I'd only have to be concerned with that. I guess it never actually clips into the wall on this row. Then again, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, I'm not designing the camera yet, I'm just looking through the level. Another waterfall, yay! I could even actually add GPU particles when they spawn to kind of like pop them like popcorn. But that's not something I'm gonna bother with right now. Maybe if I have a boring day. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna use per tile camera hints to control the camera. Okay. One thing I want to try now, though, is go back into project settings and go back to FXAA, because we were doing it with the parallax occlusion, but I think it's general, but could be rendering. I'll try rendering first. Yeah, okay, it's rendering. Oh, motion blur disabled. Huh. Huh. Actually, let's go for this one right now. Have a bit more of a upbeat song. So the forward shading path here is for VR. Although you can use it for other things as well. The main advantage is that it allows MSAA. The main disadvantage is you disable all deferred rendering optimizations. So if you have scenes with lots of lights, which we don't, so you may want to consider it, but if we had seen a lot of lights, then you're going to be doing the, well, first off, there's less features, but you'd also be doing the lighting calculation over and over and over again, throwing out the results because it would be overwritten within a frame, which clearly uses more performance. It's funny, but occlusion culling is actually a really big deal on some engines, but thankfully Unreal Engine just does it for you in the most case. But if you're in an engine like Unity, you'd actually have to use a occlusion solver. They call it try to use it a bunch. Can't remember what it's called anymore. I want to say Frustrum, it's not Frustrum. Umbra. Umbra is the technology I use. And it actually works by basically voxelizing objects and using that to create a basically a BSP tree that the camera then looks through to see whether objects, whether that BSP node blocks is like in between it and an object. Because if it is, then that camera can't see the object because the BSP tree ideally represents an object in the scene, and thus nothing behind it can be seen because you see the object, right? Now Unreal Engine does it on a per frame basis using bounding boxes with no user interaction. It just does it. So ends up being a lot easier to handle. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enable over there, because I didn't do that yet. Enable static. I'm going to change our lighting a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to wow, FXAA does not like this at all. Actually looks like it's running at the wrong resolution. Let's do a save. I want to see what it looks like in game. Wow, this looks garbage. Wow. Okay, it looks like TXAA was our better option. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, let's not ever use FXAA ever again. Okay. Actually, we don't have a whole lot of overdraw. Because of occlusion culling. You know what? Let's try going forward shading with MSA, just because of how high frequency our object information is. And the part of that's my fault in just designing my project wrong, or designing the art style wrong. Not wrong, but designing the art style in that way. Mobile. There we are. MSAA and forward shading. Restart now. So let's see how this will work. First off, whether MSAA actually looks good, and second off, whether whether performance is acceptable. And actually, it'd be possible to design MSAA in a deferred rendering pass. I was talking on Twitter about it. I asked some people. And they seem to think it's sensible. So one potential idea is that, and it's not really possible right now, you'd have to add it, one extra thing in the hardware, but so in OpenGL, Vulkan, maybe DirectX or whatever, the thing that's stopping us is knowing which fragment fails. So how deferred rendering works is you render each pixel and each how rasterization works. Let's start for that. Is that you take a triangle triangles and you line them up with a screen, and then you just go for each pixel in that bounding box and say, are you in the triangle? Yeah, the triangle. Are you in? Yes. Are you out? No. Are you in? Yes. Well, the problem is what happens when you go on the edge, where it's partially in and partially out. Aliasing is what happens when it's partially in and partially out, which is and basically what happens is the center of the pixel wins. So if the pixel is half in, half out, if the center of the pixel is inside, then the entire pixel is inside. If the center of the pixel is outside, the entire pixel is outside. So you end up with these jagged lines going down for non-axis aligned. Apparently I'm compiling a bunch of shaders or something. That's why I'm talking. Right. So how deferred works is it picks every pixel, and then if it's inside, it then grabs all of the buffers it needs to finally light the scene. So whether it's world normal, what its metalness is, what its albedo, like the base color is, I'll show you over here. Actually, you know what? While we're waiting for that, let's look up Epic Launcher. And let's open up Sun Temple, because this has an interesting graphical option. Doesn't like running two versions of Unreal Engine at the same time. The editor can handle it. Especially since it usually is pretty good at throttling the unfocused windows. Actually, here. So we have all these maps. So each of these is the size of the monitor, and the shader says, okay, the pixels in the triangle, base color, specular, subsurface color, world normal, opacity, metallic, roughness, scene depth, and it just basically grabs all these and sticks them in buffers. The problem is then you now threw away all the information except the one pixel that won. because as you keep drawing objects, it keeps replacing these buffers with whatever the on top object is, based on scene depth or a Z or whatever. It'd probably be scene depth for a different. Anyway, so now you have a monitor, like a display-sized series of buffers that has all of the top-level objects that's required for lighting, and then where deferred saves you a little bit of time is that it when you actually go to light it, you then take all those buffers and apply all the lights in the scene to generate your final output. The problem is you don't know on those edges what the materials of the non-leading, the non-center object is, and how much of the final pixel contributes to it. So FXAA and TXAA try to grab information from elsewhere in the scene. TXAA looks back in time basically and kind of moves the center around a little bit, and kind of combines the two combines a couple frames to approximate what would happen if you had multiple samples, because one sample from one frame, one sample from the next frame, if the camera doesn't really move, would be two samples of the same pixel, right? And thus you would have more information than a single buffer would have, because you have it over two buffers because you're counting what happened in the past. But then you have some issues of things do move from frame to frame, so it gets a bit off. Then you have FXAA, which actually looks in the it looks in the final frame, in one final frame, and says, this looks like an edge, this looks like an edge, this looks like an edge. Let's kind of blur it out a little bit, right, to make it flow, right? But then you're doing post-processing. You don't actually know what happened. You're just kind of looking at the image after the fact and trying to guess what the geometry would have been. That isn't as good as just knowing. And then you have that. So one thing I was thinking of was what would happen if for a Vulkan or OpenGL extension, if the rasterizer gave you an array of like 16 or whatever samples, and you happen to know where those samples were, because it's always going to be the same pattern over and over and over again. For each object, which of the 16 or whatever samples, or 8 samples, whatever, failed and which passed. If you know that, because how multi-sampling typically works is it would just kind of, it would just give you the result. It would do all the ones and say, yep, it's like 40% or whatever, right? I have to double check that on the OpenGL documentation. Don't quote me on that. I haven't seen it in a little while. So if you have a bit mask of some sort where you'd say, like, 16 digits, you're doing 8x multi-sampling, so take the leading 8. And if it's a 1, it passed. If it's a 0, it's outside a triangle. If you happen to have something like that, then you could have the passing ones, each of those aligned to a series of buffers or a sparse list if you want to be careful, even though you're dealing with a lot of fragments, so you probably don't want to maintain a sparse list because that'll grow unruly. Probably better to have multiple buffers for it, but basically, if you have the list, then you're going to say for each, like, if the color is, some fail state, then use the more frequent ones, but as you go down the list, use more and more. How am I describing this? So you'd have multiple copies of the frame buffer or a sparse list for the frame buffer. So you would know how many of each sample would be for one or the other. It's so much easier to write this out, but let's use an example. So let's say you have your top object passes 5 of the 8 samples. Then those 5 it passes would be written to the top buffer, and the one behind it would be written to the other 3 or whatever it passes. And eventually all the samples will hit something, because it has to hit something in a scene, even if it's, you know, infinity, because there's no skybox, which there should be a skybox. You get the idea. And eventually you'd work up and you'd have however many however many samples would contribute to scene. Is it even done yet? Are we done? Oh, looks like we're done with this shader. Okay, saved by the bell. Right. So let's close that temple. About cross frames. Slots no AA. So let's go here into project settings. Rendering. What's MSAA? Well, it's clearly not doing MSAA. Oh, is it? Oh, it looks like it's doing a bit. Let's open up the stream instance of Firefox. Here I was thinking that FXAA would look better. So actually let's look at the 2 polls first. So 4 votes for that, and then this one for the multi-votes. So some people would want mobile and VR as usual, but mostly PC and Linux. Okay. So UE4 MSA. So forward shading, MSAA. Looks like TXA looks better a little bit in this one. Oh, okay. Arta MSA account, we'll do 4.
Nothing left that we can
something changed. I saw something flicker, but wow, this just isn't any as well at all. Well, I guess I'm gonna be sticking with TXAA for now. We never know until we try, right? Temporal AA. And then we'll disable the forward render. Okay. Hope we don't have to rebuild a lot of those shaders. It's stuck at 45. We may have to rebuild some shaders. Yeah, looks like it dumped the cache. Okay. So yeah, if we knew which, going back to the discussion earlier, if we knew which sample it was, then we could just store a way that we can recall what those samples are and combine them together to be the final image. The problem is that with deferred, it throws it out. But if you knew when you're calculating each fragment which one was which, then you could just run that shader multiple times and store the result. And if it gets overwritten, pull it and put it to another buffer, maybe up to the number of samples worth of buffers. That sucks when it comes to bandwidth, but also sucks to do full forward rendering, right? So you may end up saving a bit of performance for that, because you won't need to calculate, each sample's worth of the pixel shader. You only need to light the samples where the pixel shader, where the pointed triangle tests don't all match one object. They go to different objects. So that's one optimization possible. And sparseless would be a similar idea, but instead of storing 8 whole or whatever whole copies of the frame buffer, you would only store the changes. But like I said, you wouldn't be able to modify the list, because then you'd have to do some list shuffling, which is slow on CPU, probably deadly slow on GPUs. Probably better to have multiple buffers. But again, that's bandwidth issues. Because otherwise, you just be like, oh, the fragment's overwritten, add another one, add another one, add another one, and just your sparse list would be huge if you keep overwriting. Oh, looks like it's moving in. And you think, well, you have 8 copies of your frame buffer, that's a lot of memory. However, GPU memory these days is pretty big, so it might be worthwhile for people who have 8, 12, 16 gigabyte cards to use some of that space just to have multi-sampling. But even then, you'd also need, even then, you'd also need the losing my train of thought here. Even then, you would need the graphics driver to expose a bit mask of which of the fragments passed. Because just knowing how much of a pixel is in a triangle won't help, because you know, if the top left one passes on one and the bottom right one passes on the other, then this one will overwrite the other one because they're on different parts of the pixel, right? It would just be a random disorder then. You'd have to know specifically which one. I mean, think of it like this, like even if you go by max, let's say one object fully covers, but in front of that object is two half-covering ones, well, you can't just say the one in the back wins because it has most of the pixel, because the two in front of it has overwritten all of it. Not either of them individually, but both of them collectively have overwritten every sample. So then you have to throw it out. So you need to know which of the fragments did what. Especially because if you'd have some flickering in of backwards objects that win one pixel but lose another, and yeah. Z fighting's always fun. Actually, let's see if I can find. There's a funny comic, or not comic, a GIF. Tools, type, animated. It's from Twitter. And of course Dragon Ball Z shows up because Z fighting, huh? Huh. Maybe I actually showed it in a previous stream anyway. Lots of Dragon Ball Z showing up here. Alright, well, I'll just describe it then. So, it was a, basically what happened is the image is of a floor, and there's this one square that as the camera rotates around, it flickers in and out because it's roughly the same height, so the camera doesn't know which one's on top. So some angles it renders one, some angles it renders the other, so it kind of flickers in. And the method of solving it was dragging a trash can on top of it to just hide it, right? So, how do you solve Z fighting? Put another object on top of it that is clearly going to win. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, it looks like that. The only problem with temporal AA is that it tends to do that weird flicker thing. I figured, oh, we'll solve it. We'll just go to FXA or something, but good gosh, like this little flicker right here, you can see. But good gosh, FXA and MSA just did not look good on this art style. And I could solve it by changing the normal map a little bit, but let's not. How about we don't? So X must have height. So we set the snap there, so back to 50. I'll have to do an offset there. And I figured out what the I may have figured it out. I figured it out at the time, but I may have not said it. What the problem with that seam is, because it should be all world position, but we're subtracting the or we're offsetting by the object position. So if our object is a half voxel, then it will add a half voxel offset. So we'll have to create a new material for that. Or as we're going to do, we're just going to change this object and replace it with one from Blender. So this guy here is a 3 by 3 by 10. So it's 3 meters by 3 meters by 10 meters. So we then go into Blender. 1 second, gonna. Seasonal allergies are always fun, aren't they? Okay, now let's go back to face cam for a second. While we open up our recent... Oh, not that one. Decoration base here. Okay, 1 second. Okay then. Oops. Yeah, get here. I just changed the song because this is a bit repetitive. And then save as. Pillar. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know this scene has the setup that I need for lighting as well as world coordinate size. So this is 3 meters by 3 meters, by 10 meters. And then move it to center. Then we'll move it up 5 meters. Rotation scale and location, good. So now we applied that, we can just modify as we want. So it's going to be split up into 6 by 6, and we're going to drop 1 6 off each side, so it'll be 4 4 4 4. So here we're going to go into edit mode. We're actually gonna hide that entirely. Okay. So edit mode. Let's do add ring. There we are. Now what we need to do is we need to do so grab all these ones here, and now we know this is 3 wide. So for 1 6 here, it's gonna be 0.5. So 0.5 off center is 1. Okay, so centimeters. Okay. So we're pressing Alt to select the entire ring. In other words, I can't see myself there, okay. And then we're moving it back. And we're typing in the numbers directly so we know it's going to line up mathematically. The way Blender renders edges that are selected makes it look like your geometry is slightly warped, but it's actually straight. Alright. So, yeah, we're going to, you know, I'm probably going to just do it by this, and this. And then do dissolve edges. And then just go grab and grab, J. There we are. Mode, grab and grab, J, grab and grab, J, grab and grab, J. And there we are. That is our mesh. Now, we can add a little bit more you know, detail to it just to give it a bit more of a interesting style. Must construct additional pylons, yeah. Both sides is 50 centimeters, so it's good. I don't know that's right, but it is. That is the same size as that. Doesn't look like it in the perspective. Oh, I know I can do. Grab this one face here and then do inset faces. Thickness, 50 centimeters. There we are. And then do. There we are. So we'll have an extra ring of voxels up there. So then down 4 is where the wall is going to actually be. So if I want to make it extend out 1, I can. Oops. If I go down 4 from here. So, what? No. Oh, interesting. Because it's evenly 10 meters high. It wants to do it in what's there? So Buffer in there. So then the wall would kind of just line up perfectly with the bottom of that. I can actually cut that down by 1 if I wanted to. But you know what? I don't. So object mode. We don't have to worry about smoothing groups or anything like that. Oh, we do have to worry about light maps. Okay, so we are gonna have to do a little more work to do. I made it harder on myself by trying to be fancy, but whatever. Trying to think of how I would want to divide this up. Okay, so there we are. So I want this to open up like 1. I want these to be separate here. Just gonna remove my movement widget here because I don't want to accidentally move anything. Nope, actually don't want it center. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it work out so that way this is an island, this is an island. Separate around here though. Nope, you there. So all of that would be one island. All of that would be one island. And then this can open up like that. I think that would be the most efficient way of doing it. And then go back up to here, have this be our UV editor. Close that out. And then do unwrap. What am I doing? Then do unwrap. There we are. So that seems to be the most efficient way I can figure out how to do that. I don't think that's right, because they should be able to make these upside down, which would make this be able to expand a little bit more, and these two clearly have enough room to grow. Whatever, though. Sure. Okay, let's go into object mode. Here, export FBX, selected objects only. Content, meshes, cross streams. Now I'm really just gonna say, hey, what's going on here? Import. Do not generate. Okay, it's good. Do not generate lightmap UVs. Other than that, import. So U. So this 5 of you, I was gonna say 6, but 5. Should be able to model swap to check it. Decoration pillar. Right. I thought my. Oh, because yeah. My scale was still set up. So what's the reviews? 0 now. No. Clearly something is not right here, so negative 220, okay, sure. Now this lines up well, and again we're going to change the material. Let's look at light map. Density looks pretty good. And what resolution is this again? Only 128. Let's go 256. There we are. See how nice it is when you actually do it yourself. And I notice that some of these are rotated a little. Yeah, some of these are rotated a little bit. I really don't care that much. A pixel's a pixel, right? When we're dealing with lighting. Okay. So that's good. Just gotta save and now keep moving on. So, as for wall sections, I'm not sure if there's any even number of wall sections that would work in all of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19's a prime number. There's nothing gonna work with that. Is there any storyline in this game? No. So the only thing I can do for this is to make the wall segments 1 wide, like the pillar, and just have 1 for each segment, which will be, you know, draw calls. However, we're talking about like, if you can see all of them, you know, that many draw calls. So 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 19 plus 28 times 2. So 94, so about 100 draw calls. Actually, if you include the pillars, almost exact, a little over 100 draw calls for the exterior wall. If you can see it all, and you can't because the camera can't see all of them. Unless I go back to VR. When you can actually use instant stack meshes to help out with that a little bit. Actually, let's see here. So, 4 place static mesh instance editor. Oh yeah, from Rama. Oh, a plugin. Alright. It'd be nice if, you know, doing alt and moving would give you an option somehow to make them instant so they only use one draw call, even though it's not going to really affect that much in the grand scheme of things. Again, when we're talking about draw calls, VR is a little bit less, but we're talking about draw calls for PC, we're talking like in the thousands, like approaching tens of thousands of draw calls, is when we have to worry. In DirectX 11, the Vulkan would be more than that, supposedly, if we ever get a Vulkan renderer that is supported. Okay. The good thing about doing it on a tile-by-tile basis for the wall is if you have to destroy one of them for like siege game mode, let's say, then you could just, you know, knock down the wall sections individually. Although if you're going to have level events to destroy walls, you know probably which wall segments you allow, because, I mean, it's not like a first-person shooter where you can just aim. You have to step on a tile and have something happen. So unless you have some random deviation to a catapult or something like that, you wouldn't know. And I don't really want to go into that gameplay dynamic. But anyway. Let's see here what the resolution of the map is again. Here, sorry, geez. So each voxel has actually quite a bit of lighting detail that it can attach. So I can get some interesting shadows there. And I can go even higher with 512 if we want more. Yeah. Some of these are gonna get replaced with homegrown meshes. And then here I could add extra. Oh, I should have done that for the pillar. to cover up the ground. Yeah, I'll do that right now. Right there, so yeah. Oh, I have to remap it then. Crummy. Part of me just wants to add cubes there. Which is less efficient, but easier. Okay, so grab. Actually, let's do. I guess if we're being efficient, we would actually, yeah. Okay, remove some triangles there. Two. Here and get my movement widget back. Disable snapping, bring it down there. Actually, no, I want to enable snapping. No, I don't yet, sorry. And then from here, now I do. There and then. No merge, good, okay. And then edge, delete edges. Oops, no. That's not gonna work at all. All vertices. No. Come on, what is that command? Alright, what is this? Trying to remove the vertices. Okay, it's all edges. And now we can grab these two edges, move them there. That's right, these four edges. Down line with that, then move them back up by let's do 100 centimeters. So it'll go slightly above the bottom there. Subdivide 2. Did I just screw up? Yeah, I did. Face here. Faces. Okay. There we are. So we're gonna subdivide these 3 faces, subdivide there. We're gonna grab you and you, we're gonna move it down to that level. Then we're going to delete these faces here. And we'll just do it by hand. We'll actually manually create the faces. Okie dokie. Right, so grab, face, grab, face. Shall do both these same time. Oh, no. Then I'm gonna subdivide these. And do it like so. So now we're gonna do edge, 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 and do subdivide. Oh no, we can't do that. Guys, it gets confused. Okay, it's now in vertex mode. Grab these 2 here, move it out to there, 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 move it out to there. And now we just gotta add more faces in. Okay, so now So I click 2 buttons at once. So I don't know what the other command I did was, but okay, guess it's going now. Okay. And we'll do remove doubles. There. Now we need to re-UV map this. Grab these group here. I'll mark seam. Mark seam. Mark seam. Mark seam. Okay. And now we need to open these up. Then grab you mark seam. So now this will open up flap, 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 center on all these sides. So then face mode, grab all faces, and then do unwrap again. And there we are. So see how it kind of flap, flap, flap from the, you know, this seam there made this fold out like that and fold out like that, and that came to this side. It's hard to visualize at first, but yeah. We'll save, then we'll do object mode. I'll do a save again, because why not? And then export. I believe it was just selected object, right? Yeah, I remember that decision. Okay, cool. Let's do it twice, because why not? Import. So, there we are. And our light map should be roughly the same. There we are. So now you do it with these wall sections here. So one wall section will be, say probably have it be, oh, up here. Probably have it be, come on. Like this, where it's 2 up and then 2 from the top there. So 2 will go out. I don't know if I want to have the top go out too. I think you probably have the top just go in 1. So there we are. Okay, now, whoops. And then we will create a new box that fits that. So it'll be 3 by 3, but how high is this? 8, okay. So add mesh, cube, 0, 0, 0, and then it will be 3 meter, or sorry, 6 meters. Yeah, 3 meters. 3 meters by meters, and then 4, and then it'll be offsets. There we are. Then we're gonna reset it to the center there. So this will be pillar, and then this will be wall segment. So here, and we're gonna copy this a bunch of times in the level. Come on. Oh. Help sphere edit mode. And then we'll actually add another ring here. We'll have this be in by I think I did what I want, but I'm just going to disable sapping just to make sure. So negative 50 centimeters. 50 centimeters. Could done at the same time as this, but I didn't. And then move each of these. Oh, I can't do that. I want to collapse this down to that, right. There we are. Okay. So all the way around, we're going to have to be in line with this here. And to make texturing better, let's just add in the polyline explicitly. Make sure they're quads or less. It won't matter for the material. The material is all world relative, as I keep saying. So this could be our wall if we want, but I want to add a little more detail into this. Something inside here, I'll just kind of cut it in the center here. So face, inset face, 50 centimeters. Oh, wait, that's not right. Object mode, rotation scale. Now let's go back to edit mode. Inset faces, 50 centimeters. There we are. Then I'll do extrude in. Turn off snapping. Extrude in. Make it 50 centimeters. There. Now we're going to do another inset face. 50 centimeters. Extrude out 50 centimeters. That works good, okay. There we are. So this could just be duplicated, so we're going to get out of... Actually, no, we have to unwrap it first. So now, normally I'd be like, oh, we can hide these because they will be inside the meshes, but on the edge, it won't be. I can make it always face that one side out. So I can only have to waste texture room on one of them, but yeah, screw it. I'm not gonna bother with that. I'll be a little inefficient for a free demo, but why not? Mark seam. So those two will be islands. Mark seam. Mark seam. Now I should make sure all of this is unwrapped as efficiently as possible. So probably this will be good. Seam. So now in face mode here, we can do unwrap and see what we get. Doesn't look too bad. Sure, why not? I'll save it. And then object mode here. Export FBX. Import. And that should all be good. Import all. And the group's fine. So now let's start deleting all of these things we just created yesterday because no longer needed. Making a lot of progress today. So it meshes. Level cross streams. Check its screen. Decoration. So then negative 220. And then 9 degrees. Oh, right, we didn't reset the center. Set location, save. And now we're going to re-export. All set in FBX. There we are. Re-import, yes. There we are. Oops. Okay, now we can then apply material, which is going to be road because why not? Whoop. So we're going to have to do an offset here, but that's okay. Size 50, so. This is what it will look like. Actually, before we do that, let's see what the light map density is going to be for this. override to 128. No, 256. It's actually a little more than we wanted, but can't go anywhere between 128 and 256, so let's do 256. Now we have that done. Now when we copy it, it's going to copy all those settings, including the light map resolution, so I have to do it 90 sometimes. I'll have to apply the material 90 sometimes when I fix it, but I really don't care all that much about that. Then we don't have to worry about the gap anymore because we closed the gap by making a custom mesh for it. Yay! And again, I could add some other little details in here as well, if I really wanted to. But honestly, I don't really want to. The good thing about art style is it's actually fairly easy to do. Then we might have to deal with problems when we have that, although we can probably deal with that by adding an extra one of these at the end there, just have it line up perfectly with these walls. We'll just have to design this little thing so it looks right when it's resting up against this here. Or make special ones of these. We'll figure that out soon. In case you're not sure what I'm doing, I'm holding down Alt, and when you hold down Alt and you move something with the movement widget, it will, in Unreal Engine, it will duplicate it. And for the menu level, whenever we are done with the demo, we actually work on a real one. We can figure out something else that would look like it from like this distance here. Now we don't have that weird thing where it's kind of clipping off the side there. Okay. Oh, and one thing I want to fix as well is I never actually added the meshes for those two here, so we'll duplicate these here. And then we're going to make it 3. Alright, you go to 5, 450 inches there. There. So now we'll save cross frames, and we're going to build lighting. It's taking a lot longer to save, of course, because it's getting a... Oh, there it is. Because it's getting to be a bigger and bigger level, right? As in more and more stuff in it. Build lighting. I can actually do something to make it a bit quicker, or sorry, make it a bit more accurate. Because I'm assuming this red stuff here, this red tint, is being picked up from the reflections of the copper. So I could actually probably change the material of the disabled tiles so they don't contribute static lighting, or have them set to not contribute static lighting. I thought they were, though. Tile mesh. Probably, yeah. Oh, wait, is it the dynamic shadow, the aura mesh? Oh, it isn't cast shadow at all, okay. I was gonna say. Yeah, so, probably want to disable cast shadow on the meshes that are disabled, but you know, I actually do kind of like how it looks, though. It makes it look a bit like a model. Apparently dropped a little bit of frames earlier on, 195 frames, which is a few seconds. I don't know when that was, so sorry if it was during something important. Again, once we take it offline, there's going to be a lot of optimizations we could do if we wanted to. That being said, for mobile and web, if I do web, and PC, or I should say even if I do mobile as well, but for PC, because we can constrain the camera, I'm not too concerned about a lot of like the draw call optimizations because we're already getting way over 100 frames per second. I'm more concerned about the material being flickery. I probably want to adjust it a little bit so that way it's bigger details and thus won't at various zoom levels won't just like, you know, turn to a mess, right? Looking good though. Should actually talk with some people who had very long lighting builds and see if there's something they're doing odd, like doing a lot of really big textures. If they can split up their objects into smaller textures, that might help them a little bit. It seems like light mask has like struggles as you get progressively larger texture sizes, like more than the number of pixels difference, or number of pixel difference. Although my scenes aren't very complex, that might just be me. Well, I should say that. They're not very complex, but I mean, I still have thousands of objects in them, so maybe it is complex, I don't know. They're small, but yeah. Only handful of lights though, so that might be part of it. Oh, interesting tip. Native components are editable when the players use property in C++. I don't want to click that link, it's going to open up my main browser. I mean, you know what, I'll do it, whatever. Oh, that won't. Okay. You guys would go to C++, or go to Visual Studio then. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do after Firefox 57, by the way, or during Firefox 57, after Firefox 57 launches, because I use tab groups a lot, and Mozilla is changing their extension architecture, and the tab group guy said a while ago that they're not going to, that he's not going to move it from Mozilla to Google's extension architecture, so it's going to go away. And I don't think anyone yet has picked up the project and said they're going to move it to web extensions. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's essentially used frequently. And again, this is just going to waterfall at some point. We're just going to get this progress bar is just going to dash to the end. Right. Actually wondering how much CPU performance it's using. Probably not using that much. Like a couple of gigs of RAM. Only using 14 gigs of RAM. Total, full system. And again, there could have been things I've done to make this more optimal, but with this end here, I couldn't guarantee that, well, one side would be visible unless I changed this to a pillar or something like that, but that wouldn't really fit the art style I was hoping for. So that would have allowed me to use a bit more light map resolution. Might have been able to get away with a 128 on this instead of a 256. But, meh. Video cards are big these days for video memory. Come on. Hit that point with your stash. Come on. You can do it. It actually looks like you listen to me. Wow. Not literally. Just very good timing. What was that? Can't be the only one who heard that. Weird, it was like Flubar was playing two songs at once or something? Is there an ad playing one of these tabs? Don't know. It looks like it's more even now. Apply, yes. Oof, yeah, we're gonna need some more light in this. Very awkward shadows. Or maybe not, maybe that's what I want to look like. There we are, now we can go into lighting only. It's interesting, we'll give it that. That's how it looks in game. So it looks pretty good. I mean, apart from the materials not being the right color or aligned properly. Such a weird setup though. Okay, so on one angle it's a aligned, the other angle it's not. So that's why it's making that weird double edge. Okay. We need to make little torches and stuff like that for here. Probably there, and there. Add a little bit of, I guess if I could actually make it there and there. Add a little bit of detail lighting. The main thing is the camera for that, though. Coming together. I'm liking the art style, which is good because it's my own art style. Motion blur is a bit of a costly operation, so I might want to disable it for performance, like I had earlier. Although it's probably better just to, you know, give the user the option one way or another. Yeah, this looks much better with TXA than it did with MSA. Which isn't supposed to happen like that, but okay. I know I've been saying it for a while now, but next time we probably should do the bridge. Actually, it's something I want to check as well. We'll do the map density there, and then lighting only. So the shadow is actually pretty harsh on it, but we'll eventually kind of make it bow up a little bit. So we add a bit of variation to the shadow there. It's interesting. Why is it doing that? Ooh, the light maps are all messed up on this thing. What did I do wrong? Oh, was there quads there? For end guns? It's all stretched. Yeah, it looks like I may have accidentally screwed up on the light maps in this. I'll re-import the stable. You know, let's try, see if we can do that before we're done today. Open stable, there we are. What am I doing? Edit mode. Okay, there we are. So boom, the boom, J. Boom, boom, J. Boom, boom, J. Boom, boom, J. Okay. I thought we had the UVs for light map. How did we even light map this last time? We don't have any of the edges. I don't remember what I did anymore. I don't remember what I did anymore, but whatever I did, we're doing it differently now. Oh. J. J. I need to mark these as seams as well, so they kind of cut out as flaps. Otherwise it'll be a stretchy mess. Actually, cut them off there. So that way, that will all be one island, that will all be one island, that will be one island. We're gonna cut out this there. Oh, I missed one. It's over here. Excuse me. Throw that cough cup with me. Okay. Caught me off guard. Anyway, right, so... I'm just gonna cut the, mesh off there and there. Even though we're generating more islands than we really need to be uniform and not stretched, we do want to allow the blender to not have to do it that way. Oh well. It's probably something I could do it where I have the seam on the same side, but I'm not visualizing it right now, so whatever. That's good. Because we have these weird T-shaped things, they're gonna take up a lot of texture space on our UV map. And I doubt Blender will be able to easily join them all together. Well, I know it won't be able to easily do it, but I'm not sure if it could do it in general. Side. This kind of zigzag pattern we're going to have to deal with. Seam, so that will fold up like that. So this will fold up like that, that will fold out like that. Ooh, that's a problem. Be able to fix it with this though. Do the same thing on this side. That's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So then grab that. Ooh, that. There we are. And then replicate on the other side there, so. This is gonna be annoying because I'm not sure if what I'm doing needs extra ones, although that's fairly easy to fix if not. You know I'm gonna have to remove like mark a seam there as well. I was hoping this would flap out, but that would flap and it would still need a margin, so it wouldn't be able to, because this is the same height as, or same distance as this, so that wouldn't work out. So it's gonna be two different islands, one for the bottom, one for the top. This might be done. Okay, so let's expand it down, go to maybe there. Oh, yeah. So it looks like there's not much stretching except whatever the heck that is. So I'm missing something. What was the bottom? What's that? Ooh, that's gonna be a problem. But I'll find love with the same soul and fall apart. Maybe we can. You know what? Let's actually be a bit more efficient. Let's make a seam too. There's something in the light map that's not unwrapping properly, so it's stretching. Gonna do this edge here. Well, that shouldn't matter. Still a problem. Only I knew which one that was. Okay, so that's over here. Oh! Yeah, I missed one of the seams there, so here is the inside corner there, so let's take this edge here. Or what am I doing? Mark seam. Now unwrap. There we are. So what was happening was all four sides of the cylinder were wrapped, and I didn't mark a seam on any of them, so it was trying to find a way to flatten out something that it couldn't actually rip open. So it's like trying to take this water ball and like crush it down into a flat image without cutting it open, and that's not gonna matter because you're gonna have double overlap somehow, right? So it's trying to, anyway, get the idea. Oh, okay, that's good. Say it looked like it was, yeah. Let's try re-exporting. Content, meshes, cross streams, stable. Selected objects. Make sure selected objects you don't export all, all that stuff. Because I have other stuff in the, like I have cube 1 through whatever in there. There we go, that looks a lot more smooth. I don't know why this is a different scale. Guessing I accidentally pressed the scale command. For some reason it wants to have one of these be slightly off scale, even though it should all be imported together, but it's not really noticed that much. Well, at least it's going to be, at least it's going to be, not stretched and all roughly the same scale. Apart from that thing over there. Alright. So we're not gonna rebuild lighting again. That'll take another like 10 minutes just to update the lighting on those two 4 meshes, I should say. We're gonna do that later on. So now it's been saved. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.